Hi everybody, welcome to your 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here with Lauren Coleman, Chad Silver, Jalen Gilkey's over there. Cast of thousands today.
Cast of thousands.
That's right. We've upgraded.
Thanks for watching us on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app.
Look at all the red you see all over the place today. Have you seen a lot of red while you've been out? It's for a good reason. It's National Wear Red Day to highlight women's heart health. We got little buttons eventually.
Yep,
maybe Brad will eventually zoom in on these. You can see them. Little red dress.
Pocket buttons. Square, we got it going. Did you notice that, Chad, we can't see this on camera, I'm sure, but this little logo, look, his tie is
the tie is made up
I
of
didn't
the
notice
dresses.
that till now.
No, now you can see
okay,
it.
we got to
There
zoom in on it. That looks really good. Where did you get that from?
It was a few years ago when I was working in Lincoln. Somebody from the American Heart Association was here, came to the station to do an interview, and brought ties for the guys.
Cool? I love that.
So I wear it one day a year. It's today.
Today.
But yeah,
way to represent for the ladies.
All right, we got to talk about forecast because we are getting really cold as we head into the overnight tonight. Specifically, I mean that's really the coldest time period that we're looking at. It's not all that bad right now. It's just the winds make it feel worse. So you're looking at 43 in Greensboro, 44 in Winston-Salem, High Point at 45, Asheboro 45. To the north, we drop down to the upper 30s already for Martinsville and Mount Airy around 39 and 38. And in Galax, it's 28 degrees. Look at the wind gusts. So these are maximum wind gusts recorded since midnight last night, so technically for today. Boone with a 46 mile per hour wind gust. Galax 39. It's even close to 30 in Winston-Salem. Those blustery winds tonight, when we see overnight lows around 19 degrees, will probably make it feel more like around 10, depending on where you are. And of course, make it feel like single digits or below if you head up into the mountain areas. Everybody pick on Christian Morgan on social media. He went skiing in Boone. I said, good luck with that one, where the overnight low is like single digits tonight in that wind. Here's predicted overnight lows. You're looking at 20 in Greensboro, 21 in Winston-Salem, 19. This is one particular model. We're going with an overnight low right around 19 degrees. So if you look at the long range forecast and how we're going to fare throughout your weekend, we get warmer and warmer. That's the good news. So 40 on Saturday, although they start out around 19, and then 49 Sunday. There's that slight rain chance, but not much. Monday, Tuesday, partly cloudy, and here's that warming trend. Low 60s Tuesday, mid 60s on Wednesday, and 62 for Thursday and Friday with a slight rain chance.
Eric, thanks. Those cold temperatures are coming fast, and we don't want you caught off guard. Keep up with the weekend weather with our free app. You'll have access to the forecast 24/7 wherever you are.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. The Winston-Salem native known for working in Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s pit crew has stage 4 cancer. Chocolate Myers was diagnosed with a rare aggressive form of lymphoma. His wife says he found out at the end of last year when he went to the ER for stomach pains. We spoke with an Avant Health oncologist today who says detecting lymphoma can be difficult.
There are some more slow-growing lymphomas that other people will develop, and those come on very slowly. And not all of those can necessarily be cured, but some of them can be treated and managed where people sort of live with the disease for many, many years.
We spoke with Myers today via phone. He says he still plans on hosting a daily NASCAR radio show and working at the Richard Childress Museum. His wife says he's remaining positive throughout the process. While she doesn't want your pity, she's grateful for your prayers.
The newly released CDC map is showing increased COVID spread across the triad. Last week's map is on the left of this graph here. The current is on the right. We put a red dot on Guilford County. Levels are up in several counties, including Guilford, Rockingham, and Randolph. Surrey is the only local county in orange, the highest level. Allegheny and Montgomery are our only counties in green, the lowest level. You might be wondering why you're seeing so many people wearing red today. As we mentioned, it is National Wear Red Day, raising awareness for heart health, specifically for women. Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women. The American Heart Association encouraged people to get educated about it at a lunch in High Point today, emceed by our Tracy McCain.
Knowing our blood pressure numbers are extremely important, and our goal is that every woman in the triad know her blood pressure numbers and the ways to manage her blood pressure.
The American Heart Association wants to ensure women recognize the symptoms of a heart attack or stroke. You can read about the differences on WFMYnews2.com.
Well, you may have heard of the internet sensation Mr. Beast. He's known for outlandish videos with crazy challenges that usually end in huge payouts with money. And his latest viral stunt gifted 1,000 people around the world much needed eye surgeries. And one of the recipients was a North Carolina teen. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey spoke with him about this life-changing experience.
Yeah, Eric, Satchel Greenidge is your typical triad 19-year-old. However, he was born with a rare eye condition that left him virtually blind. That is, until North Carolina's own YouTube sensation, Mr. Beast, reached out.
This video, we're curing 1,000 people's blindness.
YouTuber and North Carolina resident Mr. Beast is known for his videos helping people from all around the world.
I didn't have no clue who it was. I just one day randomly got this email from one of his producers.
Satchel Greenidge was in need of a right cornea transplant, and his mom posted a GoFundMe to get some help paying off the surgery. That's where Mr. Beast came in. The Greensboro team was selected to be one of 1,000 people that Mr. Beast and his team helped gain their vision.
She got an email and she was like, it's from someone in Mr. Beast's team. And I was like, there's no way. What are you talking about?
It's not like he was blind, like black, and couldn't see anything. It's just that the world was very distorted. So he could see a person walking toward him, but he probably couldn't tell exactly who it was until they spoke or got close to him.
A few weeks after the procedure, Satchel was able to take the patch off his eye and see the world clearly for the first time.
Now I don't even see any blur. I was worried, you know? I was like thinking, what if I don't even see, you know? But when they took it off, immediately I could be able to see.
Not only did Satchel get a new eye from all of this, he got a brand new shiny red toy too.
I didn't know how to react, honestly. I was like baffled. I didn't know what to say. I was like just standing there like, what? No way. Was this really happening to me? Like, what?
And Satchel shared that he's still on the road to 100%. He's on month 3 of the transplant recovery process that is usually about 6 months long.
Mr. Beast does incredible. If you're not familiar, my kids introduced me to him. I watch him all the time now, but he goes out, he'll give away, well, one of our producers, Aaron, he said his buddy just was buying a Mr. Beast candy bar out of a Walmart, and Mr. Beast's crew was hiding to see if anybody bought him, and they walked up to him and gave him a briefcase with $15,000. So thank you for buying the candy bar.
That is pretty awesome.
He gives away hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, I remember many years ago, we did a story where one of the waitresses somewhere, one of our restaurants, he just stopped through, he left like a $15,000 tip. Yeah. And just was gone. Was like, Mr. Beast, see you later.
I love that. How selfless is that? And just making a huge impact on people's lives. I gotta think this kid, his whole perspective of life has changed. Yeah. Has to be pretty emotional being able to see your loved ones, your family members, your classmates, and it pretty much might change what he wants to do with this life. There's so many other things he can do now that he has this vision.
You're absolutely right. And one of those things he was not able to do before was get his driver's license.
Oh, now he's got a
and
car.
So now he's got a driver's license and a brand new Tesla to go on top.
Nice car too.
And it's incredible to me that for a lot of families, $1,000 can be the difference between a debilitating lifestyle for the rest of your life or turning it around. That's sad, you know. I mean, he gave just $1,000 to fix this kid's eyes, you know, and it's just a shame that it was so cheap to do it, yet so many people can't afford to do it.
Yeah, that really highlights that, and that he gave it to multiple people. It shows just the positivity of using your platform in a great way. You know, it's not just about how many subscribers you get or how many views you get, but the impact that you're making in the world. And he's making one around the world.
Around the world. And he's based in North Carolina. He lives in Greenville near East Carolina University, so he's North Carolina based. But one of the things that he did in the very beginning, there's a documentary, you need to look it up on YouTube about how he got, it is amazing. But his mom said he was in there talking to himself. He was making videos. She didn't know what it was. And then about 6 months to 8 months later, he walked in and one of his videos was him giving her a check to pay off the house.
Wow.
Because he had gotten so many subscribers.
Man, and his impact is not just here in the United States, it's worldwide, just like this piece, going out to help 1,000 people around the world. Just to be able to do something that is so simple as see, that we take for granted on a daily.
His pledge is to give away most of his money.
Some great work he's doing there that he found these people, they didn't reach out to him.
Exactly.
It's a plus.
All right, we'll take a break and we'll see you in a couple minutes. You know, there are plenty of local businesses that are institutions in their cities and towns across the Triad, but there's one that might top them all. WPAQ radio station in Mount Airy. They're celebrating their 75th anniversary this weekend. And I can tell you firsthand, being from Mount Airy, that their formula for success, it's never had to change. Kelly, your family's been doing this a long time. It's very rare that one radio station, same call letters, and the same community for 75 years. How did all this get started?
Well, actually, my dad wanted to go to school in John Brown University, which was 1,000 miles away at Siloam Springs, Arkansas. He got interested in radio then, and so several years later, after returning from the Naval Research Lab in Washington, D.C., he started building WPAQ, and he pledged to the FCC that he would dedicate time each and every day to help preserve the music of the region, the bluegrass and the Blue Ridge Mountain style of string music.
You know, something that people don't realize, that in the early days of radio, they would have live bands, live musicians all the time. It was kind of standard, but that doesn't happen anymore. But you guys have never stopped. I mean, talk about that.
Right. We have a program that's been on ever since we signed on Groundhog Day 1948, the WPAQ merry-go-round, which comes from the Earl Theater in downtown Mount Airy from 11 to 1:30 every Saturday. We have a couple of bands every weekend that will play live from in front of a theater audience, and it's also carried over the air.
Kelly, a lot of radio stations, they pre-tape and it's all automated, but not the case with you guys. And you've been going on for 75 years. What do you think the future of your radio station is going to be?
We do a little bit of automation, but most of the time we have a live announcer who will talk to you, not at you, and we take requests. And like I said, it's all of it's live for the most part. And I don't know what we would do if we had to change. I can't see that happening. We've made it 75 years.
Kelly, thank you so much for taking time out. I hope we get 150 more years of WPAQ.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is that since 1948, they would have, and back then they'd bring the musicians in the studios. If you can get to Mount Airy and go look at this station, it's the same building, the same looking microphones. It looks like a scene out of a 1940s radio movie or something. Not a lot of it's changed. They still do live bands playing every week, every day in some cases, and that just doesn't happen in radio anymore. So they've kept that going 75 years, and they say they will not change it.
It's nice to see them that they're still going, because you know a lot of people say radio is dying, but there's still a need for it. I know I sometimes still listen to the radio on the way to work, and the fact that they have this unique aspect with the live music is pretty awesome.
Well, and also they have the DJs are live, so
Yeah.
you can call in like the old days and be on the air. Hey, can I hear such and such?
Yeah.
And they'd say yes, I'll play it. Or it's cool.
Well, and there's a reason why the vast majority of stations have gone to automated. It's cheaper. So
Cheaper.
how do you even operate a station like
I
that?
don't
Because it's
know.
got to be expensive.
So they do have two other stations. They have an FM, and then there was another AM station in Mount Airy that was big when I was growing up for younger people, and this was more bluegrass music. And he still has all three of those, so they make it somehow.
All right.
It's amazing.
Well, congrats to them.
Cool.
Yeah, happy birthday. Go check them out this weekend. I don't like being the bearer of bad news. Nobody wants to hear it 19 degrees or 20 degrees for an overnight low, but we have to be truthful with you. And then you add the winds to it, and yeah, here we go. All right, so wind gusts today. We've seen a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust in Greensboro, almost that in Winston-Salem, Mount Airy at 26. Look at Galax with a 39-mile-per-hour wind gust, and in Boone, in the higher elevations, they always have stronger winds than we do up there in that topography, but 46-mile-per-hour wind gust. You add that to these forecasted overnight lows in the upper teens and lower 20s, all across the board, right? Maybe more low 20s in the southern Piedmont, and then we've got some of those like 14s and 15s in our southern Virginia counties. The bottom line is tomorrow morning will be very chilly for most of us making your way out, and we're looking for that low of 19 with the high tomorrow of 40. It'll be partly sunny for your Saturday. Winds do calm down a little bit for tomorrow, but still it's just blustery, right, today. Then you just see the winds pick up here and there. All clear skies, though. That's the good news as high pressure clears things out. This front is moving through, bringing down the frigid air from the north. But the opposite happens next week as that high moves on to the east. We're on the return flow on the backside of that high, and that will bring winds more out of the south, and that warms us up a little bit. So we are kind of all over the place. Hard to believe that we go from a 19-degree overnight low tonight to a high 64 degrees by Wednesday of next week. We've got 40 degrees for your Saturday. It's a cold day. Sunday, we'll keep a 20% chance of an isolated shower in, a high of 49. 57, though, on Monday. Here comes that warming trend. Partly cloudy Monday. Sunny Tuesday, a high of 60. Some clouds with another system and a very slight rain chance. That's only a 20 or a 30% for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Warmest day Wednesday at 64, and then down to 62 for your Thursday and Friday.
All right, y'all. This next story is sure to stir up some conversation. New research shows men consider themselves better at saving money than women. Out of 2,000 people, 55% of men believe they're good at saving money compared to 39% of women. Financial experts say when it comes to holding on to what you've got, all methods are not created equal. They recommend options like 401ks for long-term goals such as retirement and savings accounts for short-term goals like car down payments. The study made me think about where I waste money the most, and I asked you too on Facebook. Lynn Barnes says buying sewing patterns and fabric. Anthony Davis wrote, sometimes food. I would bake something and eat half of it and end up throwing the rest away. I've done that too. Deborah Tennant says eating out, and then Yolanda Mathis says shoes. And most of the comments, hundreds of the comments said eating out and food, which is probably on the top of most people's list.
What's yours?
Food. I'm going to say food and eating out. And I think just in our generation, our culture, everything revolves around eating out and food. Want to grab a drink after work, want to meet up for food. And so now what I'm trying to do is kind of say, you know, let's watch a movie at my house, or I saw this on Eventbrite and it's free. Just different ways, you know, to hang out than just going out to eat.
Always eating out for me. It's my number one. In fact, so we don't do budgets per se, but one time I had something that would track using my debit card. It would put it in categories, right? So my automatically. And the piece of that pie was gigantic for eating out, and that's what told me that I got to stop doing it. I eat out lunch almost every day. You know that.
I'm gonna call that category socializing. Socializing. And that's where I
like that name better.
That's my big chunk. It's like it's the biggest chunk. I'm really good during the week though. So during the week I'm very responsible. I mean it's the weekend that. I love the weekend, but boy, does it break me.
It gets tough, and we were talking about this yesterday. If you actually looked at your receipt and you buy a meal, then you get like 2 drinks and maybe you get an appetizer, that's an easy $75 right there. And if you're doing that 2 or 3 times a week, and you got all these bills to pay, that is definitely a way to cut back.
And what am I doing in 1 hour? Less than I are going out to eat. We got a babysitter. There you go. That's what's happening. We're going to take a break and be right back.
The biggest artists are gearing up for music's biggest night. The 65th annual Grammy Awards are just 2 days away.
So much at stake with Beyonce in the running to break the record for the most wins ever.
Yes, country music will also be on full display as some legendary names go up against newcomers.
It's music's biggest night, and this year it's a battle of two vocal powerhouses. Beyonce and Adele will go head-to-head in several top Grammy categories like Album of the Year.
A lot of people really want Beyonce to finally get her flowers from the Grammys in a top category, which she hasn't done.
Beyonce adds 9 nominations to her Grammy resume and could make history.
If she wins 4, she'll break the record for most Grammy wins ever.
Other leading artists up for awards include Kendrick Lamar, Brandi Carlile, and Harry Styles. It could also be a big night for country music. Stars like Maren Morris will face veterans like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton.
The country contingent of the Grammys really likes to favor the old guard in a lot of ways.
This year, the show is back in Los Angeles with Trevor Noah hosting once again. And for the nominees, the excitement to take home Grammy Gold is building.
This one is for Early Americans with Jane Ira Bloom.
Husband and wife duo Jim Anderson and Ulrike Schwartz have received more than 30 nominations for their recordings. Working with music's biggest names, they're nominated for Best Immersive Audio Album.
This is actually a moment when people celebrate themselves, and it's very good to do so.
Win or lose, this year's show promises viewers memorable moments and a lot of great music.
That's incredible. All right, the Grammy Awards, they air Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on WFMY News 2. So this big night got us thinking about which celebrities, dead or alive, that you'd like to sit beside at one of these Grammy shows. So we posted this on our Facebook page. Here's what you had to say. Tracy said Mr. Purple himself. That would be Prince. I would agree with that one. Deborah says she wants to sit beside Harry Styles. So does our producer, Courtney. Deborah is taking it back with Lucille Ball. She said she loved her shows and is a fellow redhead herself. And Susan wants to laugh all night and sit beside Robin Williams. Oh my goodness, that would be great. I'd have to say for this one, I mean, those people were picking anybody, but for this particular one, I'm going with our guy, Eric Gales from Greensboro, nominated for Contemporary Blues Album. So that's who I would like to see.
That's going to be a big one.
That is going to be
We're
big.
keeping our fingers crossed for him. For me, my girl, I've talked about her before, Brandi. I would love to sit by her. I've just loved her ever since I was a little kid when she was in Cinderella and on Moesha, and I just think she has a beautiful voice, so I'd love to meet her one day.
I think you probably mentioned her more than any other celebrity.
Oh, really? Yeah, yes. I have mentioned her. Yeah, she had a big impact on my childhood.
I get that.
See, for me, knowing that this is like an award show and it would be my one chance to go, I'd want to sit and be entertained during the entire thing. So I got to sit by someone fun. So probably somebody like country music. So Eric Church is my favorite country musician. Luke Combs is from North Carolina, so that would be fun, but it would be a party.
Eric Church, the bad boy of country music.
That's right.
That's right. We'll be back. Welcome back to your 4 to 5, everybody. Eric, Chad, and Lauren with you on a special day. Not only is it Friday.
Okay.
And go red for women.
And go red for women, right, in the right order.
And the end of the work week.
And the end of the, thank you, thank you. It's also Jordan Day. People are calling this like Michael Jordan Day because it's February 3rd, so it's 2-3-2-3.
That's great.
Others are calling it the Jordan year because it's 23.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's a thing I posted on social media. Some of my friends who cheer for other teams saying no one recognizes
like,
this.
Who cares?
Right.
Next.
Anyway, fun little fact.
You think he'll be there tomorrow?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know. Well, it's in Cameron. It's at Duke, so I don't know if he'll.
Yeah, he'd probably not welcome there.
That would be a huge surprise, though.
That would be. You'd have to wear like a little Coach K mask when
Right,
he comes
yeah.
in.
At least we won't have to have an umbrella tomorrow.
No, we're in good shape. Let's get to that. I mean, the forecast looking at really chilly temperatures tomorrow morning, especially. I mean, when you make your way out, you're going to say, what happened? 19 degrees, the forecasted overnight low. And we've got a ways to go before we get there. You can see here 43 in Greensboro and High Point. It's really not all that bad. It's the wind that makes it feel so much colder for us right now. To the south, upper 40s, that's comfortable. Troy and Pinehurst around 49 and 48. Then just the opposite to the north with Martinsville at 38. Galax, Virginia showing up at 28 degrees. Now, couple that with winds like this, and it feels much colder than those readings. A 46-mile-an-hour wind gust in Boone, 26 in Mount Airy. It's right around 30-mile-an-hour gust for Greensboro and Winston-Salem, and 24 miles per hour in Burlington, Asheboro, and Lexington. So it is, or has been, we should say, a windy day. This is one particular model's look at overnight lows. We're actually going for 19. That's our official forecast overnight low. But you see 17 for Reidsville, 18 Danbury, 20 for Lexington and Asheboro and Troy. Pretty safe to say that we'll see mid to upper teens for lows for the northern half of the viewing area and upper teens to low 20s for the southern half. Yeah, it's going to be cold tonight. Tomorrow, partly sunny with that high temperature of 40 degrees. You look at cloud cover, not a whole lot to see. It's a big ridge of high pressure that's clearing things out for us, and that will make for a clear and cold Saturday. Sunday, 49 with a 20% chance of a late day shower. That should not really amount to a whole lot, and then you'll see highs go back to the 60s. How about that next week? 60 to 64 for the range of highs for most of next week.
And because of the weather, the Interactive Resource Center in Greensboro is opening its doors to people in need of a warm place. It's put up its white flag because of incoming cold temperatures. The IRC will be opening this weekend overnight from 5:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. The Asheboro Temporary Shelter of Grace is also opening through the weekend at the same overnight hours. The Randolph County Sheriff's Office is teaming up with Keaton's Place to collect plastic bags to make mats for people in need. If you'd like to help drop off grocery bags at either Sheriff's Office location, we've got more information about the Bags to Beds program on our website.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. The North Carolina Rate Bureau is looking to raise car insurance rates by nearly 30%. The rate filing was submitted yesterday to Insurance Commissioner Mike Causey. It's up to him what happens next.
I've always said no to past rate requests and set the court date, the hearing date, but we've never actually had to go to court because we've been able to negotiate a settlement with the insurance industry that's been very favorable to consumers.
Causey says rate-setting requests are required by law, and it's up to him whether they get approved or denied. He says our state is among the top 10 in the country with the lowest insurance rates. You can now file your North Carolina state taxes. The Department of Revenue recommends filing online for faster processing. Now keep in mind, your return won't get processed until March. That means you likely won't get a refund until then.
The latest jobs report comes in as a major surprise. Employers added more than 517,000 jobs in January, way above the 190,000 economists expected. The unemployment rate also dropped to a half-century low of 3.4%. While this is all good news, it could mean higher interest rates. The Fed is set to meet again next month and might agree on another hike since more people are returning to work. Greensboro Transit Authority is offering free bus rides tomorrow. The program is in honor of Rosa Parks' birthday and her refusal to give up her seat on the bus back in 1955. As you know, her actions played a key role in the civil rights movement and led to the Montgomery bus boycott. You can catch a free ride from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. on standard GTA buses and its participating services.
Studies show Black Americans are impacted twice as much as white Americans when it comes to Alzheimer's disease. The number of Black Americans involved in research and clinical trials is low. Wake Forest School of Medicine is on a mission to diversify research and close the gap. Dr. Goldie Bird is the director of the Maya Angelou Center for Health Equity at Wake Forest School of Medicine. She has spent much of her career researching the genetics of Alzheimer's in African Americans, with a particular emphasis on diversifying research studies and clinical trials.
When we think about health equity, one huge component of that is assuring that whenever there is a study done, or there is an intervention, or there's a cure for certain kinds of diseases or conditions, that multiple populations are involved.
Dr. Bird says increasing diversity in research is a major step towards closing the gaps in Alzheimer's disease health disparities. The Maya Angelou Center is joining an international study to build a resource that will expand Alzheimer's disease genetic studies in people of African ancestry and Hispanic Latinx groups.
The many things that we experience in life, or those social determinants of health, are things that influence our prevalence of getting the disease. So if we are unable to address how we live, violence, all of these things contribute to increased risk of Alzheimer's disease.
Program Director Takia Stark says the center will work with other universities and 9 African countries to recruit 13,000 people to participate.
Being that Alzheimer's disease impacts African Americans twice more often than our Caucasian counterparts, and we don't know specifically why that is, it's important to have a true representation of all groups of people that this disease impacts.
This is a 5-year initiative. Leaders say the study only requires a blood draw and a cognitive assessment. Those who wish to learn more about how to participate can check out this story on our website. But as they were saying, participation in these trials and these research is so important because, you know, what might affect a drug or some type of cure, how it might impact one population is not going to be the same on how it impacts another. So you really need those numbers and those people to get involved.
And we had a similar story, same kind of thing, where they were reaching out to Blacks and said we need more people to help us with the same thing, but with different types of sicknesses. And it's so, like you said, you can't do a control group and a study group without the right people in place. You got to make that happen.
Of all the things that frustrates me when it comes to medicine and research and diseases, it's that they can't find a cure for Alzheimer's yet. And the only reason I say that is because we have done so many incredible things in so many other fields. I don't understand why it's so hard, since it impacts so many people.
So many people. I think there's just a lot we don't know about the disease.
Right.
There has been a lot of progress. There are 2 drugs that are out right now that actually help to slow down the progression of the disease in the early stages. So that's been a major breakthrough. But these trials, they are just so important. And the Maya Angelou Center also wants folks to know that they can come to you. You don't necessarily have to go to them. Nice. And they're also getting in the community, putting on forums about education, resources, support that's out there for caregivers. Just wanting to really build that trust with the community.
Very good.
That's great.
So this is interesting too. Tonight, a new exhibit in the Triad is highlighting the history of black hair. The niece of civil rights powerhouse Maya Angelou will unveil her showcase called Straw into Gold at the Milton Road Center for the Arts in Winston-Salem. Rosa Johnson told us it will be, or feature rather, unique hair braiding designs, beadwork, and of course the culture behind it.
What we have here is a exhibit of my work of over 40 years. I have some of the early work that I did in the 70s. That's the straw aspect. And then we progress on through the exhibit to the gold, where I did notables hair such as Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, Abbey Lincoln, and traveled around the world doing braiding, or hair sculpture, I like to call it, because it's a lot more than braiding. It really is hair sculpture.
The artist reception is from 5 to 7 tonight. If you can't make it, don't worry, that exhibit will stay open there until March the 11th. I love the fact that she treats it like a work of art and not just hairstyle.
It is a work of art, and there's so much history and culture behind black hair. I know I get asked all the time different questions about my hair, and I'm like, seriously? Somebody asking me that? But there's so much to learn about our hair. There's so much depth there, and I'm glad that this is out on display, and it's a very beautiful way to spread awareness about it.
And I think that that you should look at it as more of a compliment, not so much as the way that you just described it, because I think the important part to remember is that someone feels comfortable enough with you to ask you a question about something they don't know a lot about. And so I think that, there are a lot of things that we could learn about from each other, and I think that's one of them.
It's all in the delivery, though, I think, too.
Sure,
It's
absolutely.
you know what I mean? And how you approach that and ask someone,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because obviously, the cultures, they may not know a thing about the other.
Right.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
And Lauren and I have conversations about this quite frequently. It's important to ask.
Yeah, and it's important to have displays like this out. And so if you're interested in doing something, I think this is something great to go ahead and check out.
Art.
It's incredible what you can do with hair.
Yeah, it is.
You watch those models on the runway when they go all out and do crazy stuff. It's like amazing. It is art.
And just how there's so many different textures of hair, too. It's very beautiful.
It's very cool. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back.
Hey, giving you a mic check. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Okay, so we're not going to follow what's there. I want everybody to raise their hands if they have frozen food in their freezer.
Yes.
And I want you to raise your hand if you have a frozen pizza in your freezer.
I do.
Really?
I can't keep it there because I'll eat it.
You'll eat
Oh, so
it.
you're protecting yourself from use.
But you do like frozen pizza.
I love it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me just back up for a second. Tanny goes, raise your hand. And Chad just went.
I know.
I said,
didn't even know what the question was.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, I do. I love certain types.
I mean, I like a frozen pizza because I think it's just quick and it's easy and whatever. Now, we're not going to say that frozen pizza is as good as pizzeria pizza, right?
No.
Right.
Well, some are kind of up
Really?
there.
Oh,
Some
I
are
like that.
up there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But sometimes frozen pizza just comes in when you need it. It's done in 15 minutes. No waiting for delivery. It's usually under $10. But is there a frozen pizza out there that comes close to pizzeria taste? Let's find out.
Let's take frozen pizza for a taste test. Consumer Reports tried out 8 popular cheese pizzas, including ones from DiGiorno, Red Baron, Whole Foods Market, and Trader Joe's.
We really wanted to look for a frozen pizza that tasted as close to pizza parlor pizza as we could get. So we focused on the main simple elements of the pizzas: the crust, the cheese, and the tomato sauce.
The winner for best crust, Amy's Cheese Pizza. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. The best overall, the Red Baron Classic Crust 4-cheese pizza with a distinct taste of crust, sauce, and cheese in every single bite. The best bargain, Costco's Kirkland Signature Cheese Pizza. You get 4 of them in a pack for under $12.
It's not going to earn any culinary awards, but it really was a decent pizza, and you can't beat the price.
So I love that she said it's not going to win any culinary
Yeah.
awards,
Right.
right? But maybe that's the pizza you buy for when you have a big crowd.
Yeah.
Right? And
I
you
mean,
got to feed a
4
whole bunch of
pizzas
people.
for $11? Yeah, I'd say so.
Or the big ones when you go to Sam's or Costco. Those pizzas
Yeah, the
are
big
great
sheets of
for
them,
when you
yes.
have a big crowd.
All right. So do you have a favorite?
Can we say? Okay, I like
names?
DiGiorno, and they have this brand that
not delivery.
it's a croissant crust.
Oh, yeah?
It's so good.
Okay, so that would be your pick if you were a taste tester.
Yes.
That's mine too. DiGiorno. That's our favorite at our house.
All I care about is that there's pepperoni on it.
Yep.
That's all I care
good
about.
too.
Give me anything you got.
A meat
Even the
lovers is good,
Totino's,
too.
those cheap little Totino's pizzas.
I love
Those
pizza
are good.
rolls.
You do.
So you know what's funny is those remind me of like school,
Yes,
like getting the
for
pizza
sure.
because they are rectangle shaped.
Yes. All right. So no matter what pizza you choose, you have to cook your frozen pizza in a certain way. Here, first and foremost, do not thaw the pizza before you cook it because the cook time is really based on it being frozen, not thawed. You want to preheat your oven. You want to let it sit at that recommended temperature for a few minutes before throwing your pizza in there. And when you do it, place the pizza directly on the center oven rack. The crust will crisp up a whole lot better this way. And when it's done, you want to take it out and you want to give it a few minutes to set and to rest before you cut that crispy crust.
Otherwise, you get a burn on the top of your
Or
mouth.
the cheese is going to be all over.
Yep, the average American says they would need an extra 4 hours in a day to finish their to-do list. 2,000 people told one poll 24 hours is not enough time to get everything done. Results found that housework, outdoor tasks, laundry, they're usually the first things to be pushed aside. In fact, about half of the people say their to-do lists are likely to go unfinished on any given day. So I asked you, what would you do with those extra 4 hours? And boy, was the answers. MD Moore is always funny. He said, I save them up for a month and then I go to the beach for 5 days. Not a bad answer, but there were lots of negative answers today. Now, Wendy said, as a mom, caregiver, hospice employee, wife, volunteer, I would have plenty to do, but would probably use the extra time for a nap, a walk, and self-care. Now that makes total sense. James Moore goes, same thing with the other 24, nothing. And then Zach said, look, they're just going to waste all those that extra 4 hours on their mobile device as well. That is funny. I mean, you need it. I'll say this in the house of 6, even though my 2 are in college and they come and go. Our laundry, I mean, I'm not lying. It's a task.
I feel like we can always use more time, but I feel like even if we had more time, we're still going to keep doing the same things that we do and still be saying, I wish I had more time.
Are you like, I think people in TV are like this. I do better if I'm pressured on a deadline.
Oh yeah, I work great under pressure.
Me too.
Yeah, when I have a ton of time, I'm like, oh, I'll put it off.
Yes.
And then I get kind of anxious with the procrastinating. Because I'm anxious, I'll keep putting it off even more.
And for me, I just forgot what we were talking about.
Would you want more time? What would you do with 4 more hours?
So I think because I don't have kids and because I'm not married, I don't need more time in the day. And maybe that's just, I don't know.
Maybe.
But like, what would I do with it? I'd sleep. I love sleeping.
This guy sleeps.
You get a full 9 hours.
I love sleeping.
Now,
what's your average? How many hours?
I try to get 9 hours at least every night.
I get like 6 on a good day.
I got 7 last night, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm dragging.
Now, if we can't get more hours in a day, we need more weekend time.
Thank you.
More days off.
Look, I'd rather
4-day weekend.
I'd rather work full days, extra days, and have a longer weekend.
Absolutely, like 4 12-hour days.
I'll take it. All right. Let's talk to our forecast. Our producer's about ready to kill us. Let's go and get to this right now. We got chitty chatty there, didn't we? Imagine that. Temperatures 43 in Greensboro, 45 in Burlington, 43 in High Point, but we are dropping down to the teens tonight, and these wind gusts 20 to 30 miles per hour across the Triad. In the mountain communities, 46 miles per hour in Boone. These are maximum gusts that we've seen so far today. It will relax a little bit heading into the night, but still, look at the overnight low. The projections are basically teens for the northern half of the viewing area and low 20s from, say, Winston-Salem and Greensboro to the south. Let's look at our 7-day forecast. Here's the entire ball of wax for you. 40 tomorrow, that's as warm as it gets with that overnight low tonight around 19. A few clouds on Sunday, 20% chance of a stray shower, a high of 49. But look at the warm up next week. Partly cloudy Monday, 57, sunny and 60 on Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those rain chances are pretty slim, but still 20% Wednesday, 30% Thursday, Friday. The warmest day is 64 on Wednesday. That's 13 degrees above normal. And then we're down to 62, but still very mild for most of next week.
What were you doing at 17? Probably nothing close to this Greensboro teenager.
This is the Church Fair. I repeat, this is the Church Fair.
Hey, Jenna Cobble is a Christian TikToker whose tweets about her love for Jesus, they have gone viral. We're talking millions of views. Her love for Jesus has brought her instant internet fame. A good amount of dollars too. WFMY News 2's Tracy McCain introduces us to the TikTok church girl tonight at 11. You don't want to miss it. You could be forking over more cash soon. 1, 2. Netflix is cracking down on password sharing. 2 wants to know finds out who will.
Look out, the Chinese balloon is coming to your house tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We are talking about all things car insurance and Netflix and lots of stuff.
I can do it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, it's time for my 2 cents, and since this is the weekend of the first Carolina-Duke matchup for this year, I thought I'd tell this little story. It was pretty cool. So last night, I got to be a spectator at an event. Actually, I was right on the front row, an evening with Roy Williams, and it was hosted by Debbie Antonelli, and they did a bunch of Q&A basically, and Coach talked about his life and all of his experiences. It was wonderful. Lots of Carolina alumni there, and in addition to getting to see Roy with his 3 national championships under his belt and all the great behind-the-scenes stories, I saw Ramses. And since I was the first Ramses, he came over and was waving to me and pointing to me and going like this. And I said, yes, I was the first Ramses. Yes, very good. And then he, in mascot sign language, he did this. He goes, I said, you watch me do the weather? And he shook his head. I said, wait a minute. Are you from the Triad? Shook his head, yes. Keep in mind, mascots are not allowed to speak even inside the costume. And I said, oh, neat. And then he gave me a hand, like, hold on a minute. He went away. I was talking with a few other people. He comes back and hands me a piece of paper. And I look at the piece of paper. We can't show you that because it has his phone number on it. But it had his phone number on it, and he said, I want to do what you do. I want to be a TV meteorologist. Can you help? And it made me think, it's an obligation that we have as good citizens, as good people, to pass on what you know to the next generation and help them along as well. Of course, he's a Carolina guy like me, so that doesn't hurt. But I thought to myself, this is a great thing to do. And maybe one day in the future, there'll be yet another WFMY News 2 meteorologist who can say they were a Ramses as well. So if you have someone in your life that you think you need to mentor, do it. It's the next generation, and we all need to help each other. That's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Could you be paying